I'm Kristina Renshaw. I'm from Caergwrle and I moved to Wales at about 2005. I've come into politics through personal experience as well as professional experience. I'm not a political career person. Hadn't thought of even entering into politics until obviously recent years when I've seen how bad the country has become. Through my personal experience and my professional career experience, I have seen how governments and councils kind of hide things, how they waste money, and I kind of want to bring accountability to obviously all of this irresponsible spending. And so recently I obviously knew the Senedd elections were coming and I didn't like any of the current parties that were standing, so I'd seen the Heritage Party, a couple of their videos, and so I read their manifesto and they stood with my values and beliefs, so that's why I became a candidate for them. Making them accountable, getting rid of the waste that their, Agenda 2030, net zero, nation of sanctuary, get rid of all of those ridiculous policies that is just ruining Wales and ruining the country, and just giving a voice to the people in the Senedd. Housing obviously is a massive issue. There's currently 20,000 empty houses in Wales. There's actually about 5 to 10 empty houses near me. I think we need to bring these into repair. I think we need to stop building on farmland, and there's also a massive issue with local housing allowances. I've worked for Universal Credits and so I've helped a lot of people in benefits, and I've been on benefits myself, and it's a very unfair system when it comes to rents. I'd like to also stop foreigners who don't live in the UK purchasing properties just for profit and business. They're pushing up rent prices as well as house pricing, so we need to stop all of that and make housing affordable and for local people as well. I think the whole health board, hospitals and everything, I think it all needs a good resort. I had a recent injury on my arm through work, and unfortunately I had to pay a private consultation in order to get diagnosed. Otherwise I'd still not be diagnosed today. Now, you shouldn't have to do that. And I know there are actually kind of ways that other private care professionals, treatments that they offer, that I know that if I had those on the NHS, my arm would be a lot healed than it is now. So we just need to bring processes up to par with private hospitals. Just because you can't afford to pay private doesn't mean to say you should be treated any less. We need to obviously get rid of the waiting times and more accountability for doctors, make those appointments more available as they were pre-COVID. So yeah, there's a lot to sort out, and I think if we stop wasting money on net zero and Agenda 30, we can put money where it's needed. Freedom of speech, I think, is a huge one. We're not allowed to post something on Facebook, you can get reprimanded, put in prison, fined, whatever. And we need to end all of that, freedom of speech needs to come back. I do think that Christianity is, at risk because of all, the illegal immigrants and all the rest of it that's coming in. We need to stop all of that. We need to put Christianity first. It is a Christian country and we need to stick by our beliefs and be strong in what we say and do. So obviously I am a Christian. I was a born-again Christian at 2012. So through my journey, my personal journey, I know, what the Lord desires as a traditional family. I was brought up in a broken home. I was a single parent, so I know the struggles that families have, and we need to support families more, and I don't think that that is being pushed. You know, I am pro-life, and obviously the manifesto is pro-life, and obviously that's come again through my Christian values and what the Lord's put on my heart. And so, you know, it's almost like the world, or this country, just wants to destroy the country, destroy life, destroy family, whereas we're about building it back, you know, going back to traditional values where we lived without all of this killing everybody off sort of scenario. So yeah, when a woman is faced with, you know, poverty versus abortion, you know, they've got to, you know, we've got to be there to say, you're not on your own. That is not the only option. You know, there are other things. We can support you. And, you know, a lot of people that have had abortions have regretted it because of, you know, they've put fear of being poor, fear of being looked down on, you know. And so if there were more people or more charities or whatever, bodies that were there to support women, I'm sure there'd be a lot less women that would choose the other option. I did ask this question. Obviously, I'm not in it for the money. And so a lot of Welsh people have said they want to scrap the Senedd. And I did ask this question to my leader, how is that going to look? But, you know, if they're wasting funds and they're just destroying the country, then it needs to go. And I'm not afraid of not working. You know, if that makes me unemployed, then so be it. Because none of us in our party can be bought. We'll not bend the rules just to save our own neck, basically. So yeah, if it's got to go, it's got to go. Obviously, the family policy and pro-life policy. Obviously, with the family as well, you know, years ago, you didn't have to, a woman, you know, whether it's a paternal male or female, you know, because the mother could have passed away or whatever, you know, driving accident or whatever, you don't know. So whoever's caring for that baby up to the toddler's age, you didn't have to go out and work years ago, but now everyone is, you know, get out to work, put your child in care. There's a lot of pressure on families today. And so it's very important for, you know, infants, toddlers, to have that family environment in their first early years. So yeah, that's one of my policies that I love, obviously the pro-life as well. But also, you know, the bigger things like the World Economic Forum, getting rid of that, National Sanctuary, and supporting farmers. I love, you know, I support organic farmers like Rutherford's. And what I loved about the manifesto is they want to encourage more organic farming and obviously free range, which is fantastic. You know, we want to be more self-sustainable. So yeah, it's great. It's a really rounded. In fact, it's the only manifesto that ticked a lot of my boxes, and that's obviously why I've stood for the Heritage Party. Well, as I've said, you know, on previous comments, that once we get rid of the unnecessary and irresponsible spending, money will go back to where it is needed most, whether that's for care homes, hospitals, families, public transport, you know, homes for the people, regulated rents. So yeah, the people would see a huge difference. They would see freedom, you know, because there's a lot of pressure on people today, you know, the way the previous and current governments have managed the countries, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. It's put a huge amount of pressure on people, which has caused, you know, there's 1 in 5 people in Wales with mental health. So there's a lot of pressure on people today, and we need to lift off that burden. You know, people will say, other parties will say what you want to hear, whereas we'll stick to our values. We can't be bought. We won't be in any corrupt left wing. And, you know, we're not, as I say, we're not going to be bought. And if people want to, like, say, I'll give you a few million if you just push this agenda, we'll say no. We're not into all of that. We're in it for the people and for freedom.